come with me to Hawaii and let's eat our way through the Lilo and Stitch movie. I landed on the small island of Kauai, which just so happens to be where the movie actually takes place, so I thought it would be the perfect opportunity to try and even make some Hawaiian dishes that show up throughout the Disney classic Lilo and Stitch. I absolutely adored this movie growing up. It's funny, it's emotional, and it never fails to make me cry and appreciate my older siblings. Also, Stitch is just too darn cute. And although it seems like food isn't really highlighted in Lilo and Stitch compared to other Disney films, in my opinion, y'all aren't hyping Hawaiian food up enough. Is that how you phrase that? Hyping up Hawaiian food enough, so take this video as a little PSA and let's get into it. And just like the iconic opening of the movie, my trip started at the beach. The movie opens with our main girl Lilo running late to hula practice because she's busy feeding Pudge the fish his weekly peanut butter sandwich. Now, most people think that this is just a quirky little thing to show that Lilo is a bit odd, but there's actually a devastating fan theory behind it that because both her parents died in a car crash on a stormy night, she believes that she's appeasing the spirit that controls the weather, aka Pudge, so that she doesn't lose any more of her family. But on a lighter note, I enjoyed my little sandwich that I made with this delicious local taro bread I found, and I couldn't find any fish to feed it to, so I just enjoyed it while strolling along the water. There's another quite memorable scene from the opening montage of the sunburnt, nameless man dropping his mint chocolate chip ice cream on the beach. And this little gag appears multiple times throughout the movie, so I thought it would be only fitting to scoop myself a cone, to honor him of course. And to be honest, the movie is kind of accurate because as it turns out, eating an ice cream cone on the beach isn't the most practical, but even though it was a giant mess, it was a great start to the trip. This next part isn't food related, but a little later into the movie, we see Lonnie and Lilo visiting the animal shelter to adopt a pet, but instead Lilo meets Stitch and takes him home. And although I'd love to also adopt a dog, this was just a short trip, so instead I visited an animal rescue farm where I got to meet some piglets, rabbits, baby chicks, and my adorable goat friend, who we'll just call Stitch for the sake of this video, but I seriously still think about him to this day. He was the literal cutest.
I got a new dog. His name is Stitch. That is the ugliest thing I have ever saw. Yeah!
After Lilo adopts Stitch, he successfully bullies some children, steals a tricycle, and we get a montage of him and Lilo hanging out for the first time. And during their little rampage through town, they stop by a shave ice cart, so of course I had to try some authentic Hawaiian shave ice for myself. There were so many amazing tropical flavors, but I ended up going with lilikoi, guava, and mango, and it was so satisfying to eat on a hot and sunny day. We really start to see Lilo and Stitch's relationship take shape at the luau. For those who aren't familiar, a luau is a traditional Hawaiian party or feast that is usually accompanied by live music, storytelling, and cultural performances. I was absolutely captivated by all of the performers, and I especially loved hearing all of the different stories, traditions, and legends of the different islands and different Polynesian cultures. And I also loved being able to eat during the entire thing. My favorites were the lomi lomi salmon, sweet potatoes, mac salad, and poke, and I did give poi a try, but the texture was not my favorite. Also, a fun little coincidence, the performance director's father was a legendary Kauai performer named Larry Rivera, and he was actually friends with Elvis and even performed with him in Kauai while he was shooting movies. And as you may know, Elvis is for some reason a huge theme throughout the movie, so yeah, that was a fun little perfect surprise. During the luau scene, I also spotted a few fresh coconuts sitting on the tables, so I couldn't resist grabbing one from this kind couple in Hanalei, and it was super refreshing and perfect in the hot and humid weather. Also during the luau, we see Stitch absolutely demolish this cake and then guiltily regurgitate it back up to share with Lilo, which is both disgusting and sweet at the same time. So I thought it would be a fun one to recreate and to take advantage of this lovely kitchen with an even lovelier view. Also, I don't know why in my head I always remember this being a coconut cake, but it's actually chocolate. But whatever, I ended up making a coconut haupia cake, which is more traditional, and it turns out to be Stitch's favorite food anyway. So I just spent this entire day relaxing and baking, which is my favorite activity, so this was so nice and peaceful, and yeah. The next morning, I took this little cutie onto the balcony, sliced into it, and enjoyed it while watching the morning surfers. Up next is my favorite part of the movie before I start crying uncontrollably, which is when Lilo attempts to teach Stitch how to be a model citizen while Lonnie is trying to get a new job around town. One of the places she stops at is Kiki's Coffee Hut, and as a coffee addict myself, I couldn't turn down the opportunity to try some Hawaiian coffee. I had the amazing opportunity to visit a coffee bean farm on the Big Island. There we learned about growing and producing coffee specific to each of the different Hawaiian islands and its climate. We got to taste test a bunch of different coffee varieties. But my main goal was to try and pet these two cats that lived on the plantation, and I was wildly unsuccessful as they were very busy doing their jobs. But anyways, enjoy these cute little videos I took of them while I was there. And sadly, that is all of the food moments in the movie, so it was time for me to fly back home. But at least my two cats were there waiting for me. And anyways, thank you so much for coming along this adventure with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.